In today's video, we're going to be talking about one of the greatest teams of KSOU, debatably, I believe, the greatest team of KSOU, Undefeated 6. Now, Undefeated 6, the reason why I want to make this video is because Undefeated 6 is no longer a legal team because one of its Pokemon got banned. So, unfortunately, this team is no longer legal in KSOU. But for the time that it was legal, this was a team that I personally created, and I stand on 10 toes on this year. I never lost with this team. I would ladder Chaos OU on my alts, on my main account. I didn't lose a single game. I didn't drop a single game. And I think this is the best team I made for Chaos OU, because Chaos OU is a very interesting metagame to build for sometimes. Sometimes you can't handle certain threats because there's just a lot to consider in the builder. But this team, I believe with my heart and soul, could cover as much things as possible and still eke out a win in every single matchup that I played in. But yeah, we're gonna be getting on to explaining the team. This is basically just a glorified RMT video, basically rate my team sort of section that Smogon Forums does. But I'll be basically explaining the thought processes behind the Undefeated 6, show some replays at the end, and yeah, just show you guys the power of the team, because I do believe it was one of the strongest teams I used in KSOU, despite the fact that you know, like, I even passed this team to some people and they still won with it. So I'm just saying Undefeated 6. Undefeated 6 was the team of all time, honestly. But yeah, before we get into explaining, like and subscribe, join the kingdom. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We are aiming to try and get to 1,000 subscribers by September. Got 2 months left to go, 80 subscribers. Want to thank all of the new guys for subscribing, and just stick around, share the content as well. If you think anyone or your friends or someone you know will enjoy the content, tell them about my channel, innit? But yeah, let us get into Undefeated 6. As you can see in the team builder here, I should have enabled my preview to double check everything was sound. I mean, it does look sound on my end, so that's all good. So yeah, Alpico Harportia, that was the name of the team of the Undefeated 6 initially. But when I realized that I never lost with this team, I had to coin the term Undefeated 6. But yeah, this is a team that I built, and essentially it was built around these two Pokemon, Alpico and Harportia. Now, as you can see, Harportia is now an Uber Pokemon because we had to ban this shit. It was broken. But yeah, this team is special for a couple of reasons. The first reason was obviously because, you know, it never lost. Like, every time I use this team, I just won. Like, I just did not lose with this team. And the second thing is, I'll explain the second thing later. But the first thing that I would like to explain is the fact that I initially built the team around Alpico and Harportia. Now, to be honest, these two, like, considering the fact that Harportia used to be an OU, these two were definitely one of the most some of the most threatening wall breakers that KSOU has access to that aren't necessarily Mega Evolutions. If you look at the Mega Evolutions that are currently in KSOU, you have things like Mega Charizard Y, you have Mega Bishop. All of these mons have very high sort of attack stats. Mega Delta Gallade, and especially something along the lines of Mega Delta Scizor and Mega Delta Sceptile. These guys hit very, very hard. So, not being able to use up your Mega slot, like, because obviously this team has a Mega Milotic as its Mega Evolution, because frankly the team needs some defensive backbone when you're spamming two offensive ones. But yeah, being able to use some Pokemon that aren't Mega Evolutions that still are able to have such an impact on a game basis, because they do a lot of damage and threaten a lot of damage on a lot of the tier, is a very good thing. Now, Harportia again was pretty much the best wall breaker in KSOU before it got banned. It pretty much had no switch-ins because the combination of a decent attack stat, 105, Tough Claws, and a high base power stabbing Brave Bird, which is boosted by Tough Claws 30%. You know, Harportia's Brave Bird was a move that you didn't want to switch into. Most neutral targets, if like they didn't have like a defense stat above like 150, were pretty much just dying on the spot. And it doesn't help that Harportia was also one of the fastest Pokemon in KSOU, coming in at 124 speed. And realistically, if you look at if I just filter by OU and do speed in descending order, Harportia was pretty much in this position where Crusadon used to be, and that is outspeeding still most of the metagame at large. And obviously there's some UUBL guys and also some Chaos UU Pokemon that you could count as well. But yeah, Harportia was pretty much faster than most of the tier, was able to threaten big damage, and even the switch-ins that, you know, you would think, oh, this one could switch in, like Delta Regirock. Delta Regirock has 200 base defense, might not resist Brave Bird because it's not a rock type anymore, it's a ground type. But at the same time, like Harportia would still do like a solid 40% and basically force Delta Regirock to recover every single time. And obviously, the Harportia user could pretty much just take advantage of that turn every single time. And even something like Mega Kabuterimon, again, another Pokemon with a high HP and a high defense stat. Again, taking roughly 40% from Brave Bird, but forced to roost and had to run Thunder Punch to actually harm Harportia, because typically Mega Kabuterimon was running Glare, U-turn, Roost, Sticky Webs just to spam Paralysis and U-turn and pivot out. Good Ogerpon Wellspring check, by the way. But you know, had to run Thunder Punch because, as you can see, Harportia is an electric flying type, is immune to glare, so can't get paralyzed, and you know, resists bug because it's a flying type. So yeah, you had to start running you know, Thunder Punch over Sticky Webs to actually punish Harportia. So yeah, very strong Pokemon. Now, I realized with Harportia that obviously, like, even though it hits everything hard and pretty much just guarantees an OHKO on most Pokemon, I was like telling myself, well, I need a special attacker to actually get past the few physical walls that Harportia could actually not like to kill off rip, like I mentioned, the aforementioned Mega Kabuterimon, Delta Regirock, and even something like Equilibria. Again, Equilibria was not a good switch in because Superpower just OHKO'd out on the switch. But, you know, just being able to, you know, target the physically defensive Pokemon. Because, again, in a 1v1 situation, you know, Harp wouldn't OHKO something like Donphan, for example. Then Mega Donphan will just Ice Spinner it back and die, and it'll die after recoil. But, you know, you needed something to beat the Fizz Death mons, basically. And Alpico was the solution that I wanted to use because, you know, how Alpico hits very hard. Technician, Frost Breath, you know, basically is just a nuke on most neutral targets as well. And it's even faster than Harportia. Alpico is pretty much the fastest non-mega Pokemon that is available in Chaos OU, or is counted as OU in Chaos. And initially it was choice specs, but I realized that heavy duty boots was better in the long run because Alpico could come in numerous times, never have to worry about a stealth rock's weakness, nor, you know, taking spikes damage, because spikes is decently common in Chaos OU. And then you were able to, you know, just U-turn out and have the free, you know, ability to switch your moves. Even though choice specs is a massive nuke, like most things don't want to be taking specs Frost Breath. Even something like Equilibria doesn't like that, even though it has a high HP and high special defense stat. It's just because of that crit on Frost Breath plus Technician is the reason why it does a lot of damage. And even something like Mollusk, like you could nuke that with specs HP ground, but you don't actually need specs to even, you know, threaten that Pokemon decently well. And yeah, Alpico was just the perfect Pokemon to handle the physically defensive Pokemon that Harp could sometimes struggle to be in a 1v1, especially, you know, if they come in on a free switch, or, you know, something dies to Harp and then something like Delta Regirock comes in. And obviously Harportia also helped out Alpico because it's not that hard to actually, well, I won't say it's easy to war Alpico, but there were more special checks that could handle Alpico than there were physically defensive ones that could handle Harportia. Blissey does not care about Alpico in the slightest. So obviously there's mons like that. You also have Assault Vest, Magnezone, Ego, and especially if Alpico isn't running Hidden Power Ground, that mon kind of just has a field day with Alpico. Times full weakness to Steel, Bullet Punches OHKO in it. Even something like Assault Vest, Melmetal, you know, like HP Ground is low-key just going to bounce off and you die. So, you know, Harportia being able to threaten something like Equilibria with the OHKO and Superpower, even something like Melmetal, which is was a decent switch into Brave Bird, you know, Superpower is doing such a huge amount of damage to Melmetal. So yeah, they complemented each other quite well. Now moving on to the defensive core, we had Mega Milotic and Blissey. I think these two are such a no-brainer defensive core because Mega Milo handles the fighting types, you know, that Blissey obviously is weak to, and then Blissey basically covers like most of the grass and electric Pokemon are mainly special attackers, things like Mega Electroxel, and something like and grass types. Well, where are special grass types? I don't think we have any special grass types realistically, but Blissey, even with, you know, his base 10 defense, as long as it's maximum invested, it can still take some physical hits. But again, Chaos power level is so high, Like, you're not letting your Blissey take physical hits, man. There's just a few things that hit way too hard in this tier. But yeah, I just think this is a no-brainer defensive call because Mega Milo is already such a fat special wall without any investment. Like, just having base 155 special defense, which again, higher than Blissey's, by the way, like base-wise. Base special defense is higher than Blissey's. And the fact that with your defense maximum invested basically equaling your special defense just means that, like, Milo is basically a physical and special one. Again, this is why he's the best Pokemon in Chaos OU and is ranked at #1. But yeah, with this defensive core in mind, you know, these, like, Milo is also a very consistent ice resist, and obviously Harportia is weak to ice and is weak to rock as well. And, like, you know, the rock types are, you know, physical attackers, and Milo can threaten them with water stab. As you can see, I'm not even running something like Scold. I'm running Flip Turn in order to get, you know, Harp in freely and, you know, just start spamming Brave Bird. And Blissey also has Teleport and Wish. And Wish was such a cheat code with Harportia and Alpico, because the issue with Harportia that a lot of people, at least one of the cons of the Pokemon, because no Pokemon is perfect unless it's Mega Milo, but you know, the issue with Harportia was that Brave Bird is a recoil move, and, you know, it's spamming it a lot, and its health is eventually gonna keep whittling down. And also, you know, you have to worry about Stealth Rock damage. To be fair, Harp's HP was at a point where even if it OHKO'd something with Brave Bird, it wasn't losing half of its HP because its HP stat was, you know, decently high for an offensive Pokemon. But Blissey is able to basically keep Harp at full HP at all times, because Wish Teleport is a cheat code. You get Harp back in and it's back to full HP. And pretty much Blissey Wish is like one of the best, like, ways of keeping your mons healthy on balance sort of structures in Chaos OU, where you know, because Blissey's HP is so high, obviously Wish is getting half of Blissey's HP stat, which goes down to 326. And as you can see, Harp has less than 326 HP. Milo basically gets most of its health back. Alpico gets all of its health back. Even Tusk gets, you know, 80%, like at least 70 to 80% of its HP back if it was low, of course. But yeah, yeah, Blissey was just a perfect partner to, you know, Blissey and Milo were the perfect, like, pivoting Pokemon that could support, you know, Alpico and Harportia effectively. Now, moving on to the MVP, I think outside of Harp and Alpico, because again, this team was based around them, Great Tusk is the MVP of this team. Now, when this team was made, you know, a few months back, and you know, Great Tusk was not in a good spot in the metagame. I would say, like, maybe start of the year. I'll give start to mid of the year, 2025. Great Tusk was not in a good position. The public opinion on Great Tusk was not in a good position, because a lot of the people in the community thought that, why would I use Great Tusk when Mega Donphan exists? You get a bulkier Pokemon, particularly on the special side. As you can see, Mega Donphan has 100 special defense, while Great Tusk is stuck at 53. And, you know, Donphan's ability over Irrelevant basically ignored type immunities. So you could hit flying types with EQ, you could hit ghost types with Rapid Spin, and you could hit, you know, steel types with poison type moves. But obviously, Donphan doesn't get any poison type moves. But again, I'm just letting you know how the ability works. But yeah, Donphan also got recovery from Pokemon Infinity with Slack Off. So you basically, like, the community just thought, yeah, Great Tusk is the worst Mega Donphan. And this one was, you know, being considered to be dropped to UU, Chaos UU. And unfortunately, Great Tusk's best friend in, you know, Scarlet and Violet ground type, Landorus T, got dropped to UU because, you know, it just couldn't keep up with Chaos OU. But Great Tusk, I can't lie, I will say with 100% of my chest, I save Great Tusk, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. If they ask you, why is Great Tusk OU when debatably Mega Donphan is the better Pokemon, let them know that I'm the one that saved Great Tusk with this team. I say Great Tusk's viability in this tier. So, what Great Tusk was able to do at the time, you know, Mollusk was everywhere, Sirentom was everywhere, obviously Mollusk here, very good spinner, the most used Pokemon usage-wise in Chaos OU, and Great Tusk just had the positive matchup into a lot of the common Pokemon that were being spammed, you know, at the start of the year. Equilibria was everywhere, people were spamming Ferrothorn to kind of have an Ogerpon Wellspring switch in, Magnezone Eagle was being spammed, Ruin Gross was being spammed, and just a lot of Pokemon that just, like, Tusk was able to outspeed and just threaten a lot. Even something like Goldengo was seeing a lot of usage, and Goldengo isn't in OU anymore. We dropped that shit to UU. But yeah, Tusk was just able to outspeed a lot, threaten a lot, and like being able to threaten Gliscor especially, which Landorus T could not do unless like you go like special HP ice tech that shit, and you know, to kill Gliscor like in the Oras OU days or the SMOU days. But oh, sorry about that. God, just ate dinner. But yeah, Ice Spinner being able to threaten Gliscor off rip, being like, and Tusk just had enough natural bulk to itself that a lot of the physical attackers didn't like harm it too much. Like obviously something like Delta Arcanine +2 extreme speed was gonna hurt, but of course you could threaten that with a CC. And you'd always survive a +2 E-speed and revenge killer with CC. So, you know, Tusk's defensive stat was coming into play a lot of the time. And this team was successful because I would face a lot of mollusks or just a lot of mollusk. I won't pluralize mollusk. And you know, yeah, Great Tusk was just doing well. Like, you also threatened Mega Delta Sizzle. Obviously, Ice Shard adaptability, if you are at least like under half, that shit was killing you. But you could always come in, Okodal with CC line. Tusk just was able to do so much. And things that Mega Donphan couldn't do. Mega Donphan was always just going to be that bulkier Pokemon, did not have the speed tier, was going to be outsped, was threatened by a good amount of Pokemon as well, despite the fact that it had a massive defense stat, a decent speed up stat, and access to recovery. And also you have to take into account of the mega opportunity cost, which is something that's unique to Chaos OU, where you have a lot of megas, and obviously it's objectively harder to try and fit a Mega Donphan on if you want to try and use other Mega Evolutions that are, you know, high in viability. And obviously Mega Donphan is one of the best Pokemon, of course, but when you still have something to consider like Mega Milo on the build, and Mega Delta Sizzle, Mega Delta Sceptile, it's hard to put Donphan high up on the priority list, especially when Tusk is the alternative where you can get a spinner, have dual stabs that actually do well into the meta game, have Ice Spinner as coverage without using up your mega slot, while having a one that's decently fast and can threaten a good amount of Pokemon in the tier at large. And yeah, that's why Great Tusk was kept in OU and is now a B+ level Pokemon, and that's thanks to my contributions. Don't let no one else tell you nothing, innit? But yeah, and finally moving on to the next member, the last member of the team, Ferrothorn. Now, as you can see, with all of this team, I'm going to get 6-0'd by Ogerpon Wellspring. So obviously Ferrothorn was here to help that. And you're probably thinking, well, doesn't Ogerpon Wellspring have superpower? And that would be a pretty tough ask for your team. But at the same time, you know, I had shit that outsped Ogerpon Wellspring. Alpecon Harp outspeed that. Obviously, Harp threatened Ogerpon Wellspring with an Oko with Brave Bird, and Alpico could just U-turn out. But at the same time, I just needed a solid answer, because even if Alpico was in versus Wellspring, obviously without a choice specs, Frost Breath is not killing. And, you know, even if I U-turn out, what am I going to switch into? Like, Great Tusk is going to die to both stabs, Blissey is settle fodder, and Milo is weak to Power Whip. So I needed a Pokemon that could actually just handle Woga, and even things like Kartana as well. Kartana would kind of just slap up this team as well, set up on Blissey, set up on Tusk, set up on Milo. So you just need that Ferrothorn to balance it out. And to be fair, Ferrothorn has done its job very well. Of course, like I was running Toxic here, but you know, typically these days on my Ferrothorn I'm running Body Press, so I can, you know, have a Ferrothorn that can punish like steel types coming in on grass, Power Whip, for example, like Equilibria and like you know, Kartana, King Gambit. Just being able to hit those Pokemon, even something like Mega Delta Gallade would also give this team a lot of trouble. And you know, just well, yeah, it should just be Body Press, but yeah, you'd be able to 2-hit KO without Body Press, not die to Triple Axle, and obviously they have to care about Iron Barb's Rocky Helmet damage, basically cutting their health in half. So yeah, that is the Undefeated 6. I'm going to miss this team a lot. Definitely one of my favorite teams. I wish I used it more, because I could have gotten to the top of the ladder, definitely. But at this point, the legacy has been set, because the higher chance of me losing a game would happen if I started playing more games. So we'll leave the legacy of the Undefeated 6 with this video. This is a eulogy to my favorite OU Chaos team. So yeah, we're going to look at some replays now. Well, I'll just give you guys 2 replays to look at if I can find some. But yeah, this team in action, you'll see why it works so effectively in a wide variety of matchups. Okay guys, we're here with the replays now, and yeah, I'm gonna swap sides because Victor should always be on the side here. So yeah, as you can see, yeah, I just have 2 games, and here's the team in action, so I'll show you guys how it goes. So yeah, Goldengo lead and Tusk. And as you can see, like, the Tusk matchup is not bad because I had long rush and obviously that's immune to levitate, so there's not much I can do about that. But Ferrothorn can always come in and kind of beat this guy up a little bit. And, you know, they spam glare and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Get paralyzed. I was probably trying to settle rocks or something. But yeah, Mega Kabu takes Helmet and Rocky Helmet. Delta Registeel decides to make an appearance. And obviously, Great Tusk has a good matchup into Delta Registeel as well. But I decided this is prime time to get my Milotic in because, you know, competitive activates on webs. And, you know, Mega Milo at +2 special attack. You don't want to deal with, bro, because Moonblast is about to do so much damage. It's insane. So I decided to flip turn anyway and get probably Harpin. Yep. That's what I would have done as well. And like pretty much nothing switching into Brave Bird. Like Gold is gonna get to it killed. This is already at 72, so it's pretty much just useless now. And I said Mega Capital was taking 40, like that's a 45 roll. So obviously Harp, you know, kills Mega Cabu there. And yeah, that's the supposed check just like gone now. But yeah, as you can see, here's the team in action. You have the Mega Delta Sizzle answer, aka Mega Milotic, and you know, there's not much they can do about that because you know, this one at +2 it can actually 2-hit kill Milo on the switch. But you know, that's you know, they have to predict that, and it's still just a very solid Mega Sizzle Hunter anyway. So Siren Tom is also like, it's just another game of getting Harp in and clicking Brave Bird. Gold is getting 2-hit killed. If you see that 64, like again, this is why this one was banned, because it's just a very, I swapped out there because I was worried a bit about like a potential Scarf Goldengo. That's why I swapped out. But yeah, they go Delta Registeel. I wish up, and at this point I can just get that slow teleport in, you know, get Harp back to full HP basically, which is what I did. And you know, that's fire type Stealth Rock, so I take 12% there. And yeah, I can just actually U-turn out. I'm gonna get in Blissey again, so I can just freely teleport into Tusk. They do Lava Plume me, which obviously does 0%, but they knock off my boots now, which I don't appreciate personally. But you know, Great Tusk is also running boots, so we don't care. So they go Siren, and I think I predicted this. Hopefully, I think, yeah, I did, because I'm just goated like that. I crit the ghost type, so cool. Yeah, I predicted that like a boss. I knew I did. And you know, Goldengo comes in, and the more this shit comes in, the more I'm just thinking, this shit is just 100% Scarf, and I'm not trying to stay in and sack my guy here. So yeah, Blissey takes 21 from Make It Rain, pretty much like negligible damage because Blissey is just him. And yeah, I also need a Ferrothorn as answer to this guy, because that guy is not very fun to face. But at this point, I just spin. Even if they click Woodhammer, Tusk has done his job. I have no more hazards to worry about, unless you know, Delta Reggie still wants to come back in. But which it will come back in, obviously. But Harp comes in. I know I can get the kill with Brave Bird. Delta Registeel again. Even with 150 defense, you're not a switching. Nothing was a switching to Harp, and this is why this team works so effectively, because you can pivot in Harp so many times. You see the amount of times I go on Harp in just because it's Harp, you know, and like their supposed best answer just got folded and nothing switches in. But yeah, here's the thing I was talking about with the Sizzle thing. Obviously, they only get one hit on triple axle anyway, but that shit was going to 2-hit kill me just because, you know, adaptability is a funny ability. But yeah, at this point, the game's over. They have no shot of breaking Ferrothorn. I know this thing gets, like, Ferrothorn's still taking, like, as you can see, 36. So it's not infallible versus Delta Rune Metagross, but at the same time, like, yeah, like, you still take quite a good amount of damage. So yeah, the Scarf Goldengo family comes back in, and they tricked me the Choice Scarf. So I was good to assume the entire game it was Choice Scarf, because it came in on Tusk, and I was like, Tusk is faster than you, bro. So yeah, and also I forgot to mention with Great Tusk as well, the fact that people are trying to run a defensive Great Tusk is the reason why people didn't really see its potential, because defensive Great Tusk is just worse Megadon fan. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't need to run defensive Great Tusk in this economy where, you know, utilizing is actually above average speed in the tier, good damage output and coverage was better than trying to emulate a Pokemon that has recovery and much higher defensive stats. But yeah, moving on to the second replay. Like I said, there's only 2 replays we're going to be going over today. But we're up against Duck Pack here. He's like one of the more higher ranked ladderers on the KSOU ladder. So I was probably getting into this game thinking, well, this is the undefeated 6, bro. I'm not losing anyway, but it's going to be an interesting game anyway. Because there's a lot of defensive pieces here, like Gliscor, Sirentom, Delta Vespiquen, and Baryon here. But we'll still come out on top, because again, you guys already know I've won, because the team is called Undefeated 6. Like, you already know I won this game. It's about the journey of how I won this game and how this team could pretty much play any matchup it really wanted. So yeah, Mega Milo turn 1, I thought it was the best lead anyway, just into their team, get a Mega off rip. You know, Gliscor comes out, and Ferrothorn was also a pretty good Gliscor stop. Like, you couldn't really beat it, at least seed you and then do what it needed to do. But yeah, Blissey comes in on Delta Vespiquen, and you know, we just trade rocks here. And at this point, they Volt Switch. I'm on my way to probably teleport out into whatever I want, because slow teleport, slower pivoting benefits me. So yeah, they go, I go Tusk here because I can obviously threaten Gliscor with a turret KO, very good turret KO, aka Swords Dance, and they decided they did not respect Great Tusk clearly, because no one respected Great Tusk early to middle of this year, realistically. Like, now everyone knows Great Tusk is him, and that's mainly because of me. But yeah, I decided to Ice Spin Delta Vespiquen. Again, Gliscor's basically done for the game. But obviously I'm a fighting type, and Delta Vespiquen's a steel type, so that just gets folded. So yeah, dual stab, like I said earlier, Great Tusk dual stabs are very good in this tier. But yeah, Delta Milotic, no, Meloetta, my bad, comes in, U-turns, gets the crit down. Quite unfortunate crit, if I do say so myself. But they're probably getting in Mega Delta Sceptile. And, you know, this is a scary Pokemon in general. Like, it has Grass Knot to hit Mega Milo for a decent amount of damage. And they go for Focus Blast, which obviously, like, it still does 20%. It just goes to show how strong this one really is. I anticipated the Grass Knot, so I just start recovering, because I don't want to be in a situation where I don't have like a switch into a Delta Meloetta, for example. So I decided to flip turn because I knew they were swapping out like a boss, and I get in the Goat Harportia. And as you can see, like, there's no Delta Regirock, there's no Mega Kabuterimon, so obviously they just have to play the SAT game, and that SAT game had to go to Gliscor. So yeah, they're gonna get in Delta Meloetta here, because again, this is 128 base speed versus 124, and I'm like, Ferrothorn has done his job. You know, I'm gonna chip this thing as much as I can, and yeah, you know, it comes in at 18%. So yeah, we're in a pretty good situation here, and I have to go Mega Milotic because everything else just dies, because they typically run Banded. So Varian comes in, and you know, I decide to recover just to make sure I get all of my health back. And in this situation, I can Toxic the Varian, because again, this one's very annoying. It's typeless, so it has no weaknesses. So realistically, your main ways is like whittling down with Toxic, or, you know, running something like Harp, which again is now banned in KSOU. So yeah, I flip turn again, and guess who comes back in? Harportia, ready to click Brave Bird on any unassuming soul. So yeah, Varian comes in. This is never physically defensive, and as you can see, that did 66%. So yeah, again, this is why Harp was banned, and that's why the team was so successful, because having a wish support Harp, like, you see Harp is at 10%. I don't know if I'm able to. I don't know if I'm able to wish it back in. I think I do end up wishing it back to full HP. But yeah, they get me pretty nice on the Grass Knot switch in here, and I have to go Blissey to handle a fighting type. Do you know how crazy this economy is? I have to get in a Blissey, but they decide to swap out rather than just clicking Focus Blast. And I think they would have been in a much better situation if they did actually do that. So they decide to Rapid Spin, and at this point I don't care, because I'm able to teleport, but they get the faster teleport, because the slower one, because they're slower than me. Sirentum has base 19 speed. So yeah, I get Milo back into full HP, and yeah, the team, Blissey can always just keep things healthy with Wish, and you know, I decide to Moonblast Sirentum, and yeah, as long as Milo is healthy, Mega Delta Sceptile never really wins this exchange. And yeah, Sirentum, I can't really break this. Harp is obviously at 10%. And I'm starting to get a bit worried, because I'm like, how am I going to break Sirentum? But they never run Surf, so eventually Great Tusk should be able to threaten that for a good amount of damage. And, you know, I bring in Tusk anyway, because they're in range of Headlong Rush. So yeah, even Shadow Ball there, I get a defense drop, special attack drop. That's why I actually took that decently well. But yeah, they decide to teleport, and at this point, Delta Meloetta comes back in, and, you know, I sack Harp here. It's already done enough. Harp killed, like, half the team. I mean, Tusk killed the Vespiquen, but, you know, I get Alpico in, which is faster than everything other than Mega Delta Sceptile. I click Moonblast, and, you know, there's only Mega Delta Sceptile left. I'm pretty sure Alpico died to Focus Blast, so I obviously had to swap the hell out. And, you know, even at this point, Blissey, I can just teleport into Milotic safely. I actually softballed. I don't know why I did that, because I could just teleport right now if I wanted to, which I softballed again. Okay, I mean, I could, yeah, I mean, Tusk isn't needed anymore. They couldn't play rough and I die. And it was a pretty close game, because, of course, Why did I go Milotic? Am I tweaking? I think I wanted to scout the damage. I think that's why I did that. But at this point, yeah, I think that wasn't the play at all. I should have known it was banded anyway. Like, I'm watching these replays back and I'm thinking to myself, well, I know how I could have played this game a lot better. I basically have to PP stall Mega Sceptile's Focus Blast, which Blissey is able to do because Blissey is goated, as the young people say, goated. And yeah, so this is on its second Focus Blast. I still have 3 soft balls, so I'm 1 up. So yeah, I got Alpico here. Like, the point here was to PP stall you know, Focus Blast, so Blissey could actually just 1v1 this. So yeah, they have their last Focus Blast, and obviously they're trying to preserve it. They burn me, and that's fine. And I use up my second to last soft world. And yeah, this is a very fun game now because I have to play the game here. I have Wish as recovery, so it's always like a backseat in the case that they decide to click their last Focus Blast. And I'm like, cool, I get Milo back in because Blissey is goated. And yeah, the game is just 1 hit because Grass Knot, even with a crit, is not killing me. Does 48. Like, it's still a roll to 2-hit kill. But yeah, that was a close game here. Dark Pack gave me a good fight, but the Undefeated 6 doesn't lose. It just doesn't lose, and it is now inaugurated into Chaos OU lore. Like Mega Delta Sable, like Mega Delta Camera. Undefeated 6 is a legend now. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Let me know down below if you guys enjoyed watching this video. I get to talk about one of my favorite teams in Chaos OU, one of my favorite formats that I like playing right now, and you guys can just hear me yap about it. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.